Good morning on this, well, good morning, good afternoon on this Tuesday lunchtime. It's now 12:30 here, a bit later than anticipated, but it's just been one of those days. Had a little bit of a helping out a friend in a medical emergency this morning. The dog's at the vet's being spayed today. I've just had a message through to say that all has gone well and we can go and fetch her at 3 o'clock. So that's a bit of a phew moment there. But all of these things going on, we're going to come on and keep me busy while I wait till I can go and fetch her, and by doing a bit of crafting. So do come on if you do join me live and say hello. Do leave comments, do chat along. It's always lovely to have you with us as we do these lives. And indeed, if you are watching on catch up, then do leave messages and things and any questions, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. So let me quickly, without too much ado, introduce myself a bit more. This is my website, my blog, links to my shops, all of those things where you can find everything over at loveaduckie.co.uk. So do go and check out over there for anything that you want to know, or alternatively, just reach out and get in touch with me, and I'm always happy to help. I do run quite a series of classes, busy schedule of classes here in the Northamptonshire, Wellingborough area. So if you would like to come and join me for any of my in-person classes, here are some of the bits that we've got coming up. Stippled Roses. We're going to be using that today, and that is what we're going to be using in our Stamp Stack class this week on Thursday. This Yum Yum Saturday Stampers is actually the one that's at the beginning of March. It's just the way that I've sort of slipped in these pictures to into the graphic, but this one is the March one. For the beginning of March, we're going to be doing sort of food related cards, so do come and join us for that all-day event. We've got a stamp camp coming up in February where you purchase the list of products from me and you get 26 inspirational projects that you can create with your goodies. So you buy the paper, the ribbon, the embellishments, and one of the stamp and die bundles from the Nature Sweetness suite in the mini catalogue, and you'll get 26 projects, 2 each from 13 demonstrators from around the world. So always great value, great fun. So do come and join us for that stamp camp in February. Other things that are coming up. So February's Saturday Stampers, so our all-day Saturday class, is titled Loving Spring. So we're going to be doing some springtime projects, whether that's Mother's Day, Easter, birthdays, but using some of our lovely projects from mainly the mini catalogue. But I think there may be one sneaked in there from the annual. I'm not sure. I can't remember. But yes, some lovely spring projects that you can come and do in that card buffet all-day event at the beginning of February. The February monthly card club is going to be using the perennial lavender suite. It's just beautiful. You're going to love those. So you get a whole kit of product that we use then to make 5 different cards, and there's always more to take away to continue playing. And the technique class for February is going to be creating some tab cards with a very clever little bundle, the Hooray for Surprises bundle from the mini catalogue, and we're going to be using that for our technique class in February. So those are the classes and things coming up. Other things happening this month from Stamping Up. We've got the mini catalogue has launched. Sale-a-Bration is well underway. So if you purchase anything from any of the catalogues that are current for £45 or more, then you get to choose a free item from the Sale-a-Bration catalogue. But also, if you host an event that generates enough sales, you'll get extra goodies that you can spend in any of the catalogues. And if you join the Stamping Up family during January or February, during this celebration period, you can either have extra goodies in your what is always good value starter kit, or you can choose to have this fabulous glass mat and this silicone palette that will sit on it, and a cleaning cloth. A great kit, worth £60, worth 50, nearly £60, worth £56 retail price. And you can have that free on top of your £130 worth of product for your £99 during the celebration sign up. So do bear that in mind. Great value. So you can either have £160 worth of product for £99 or £130 plus this glass mat, silicone palette and cleaning cloth in this gorgeous bundle of goodies here. So that is the celebration offer. Other things that have popped up during January are 2 new kits that are both fabulous and wonderful additions to our kit collection. So do go onto the online store and check out all of those fabulous kits. So let's come back this way. So yes, as I say, do come on and say hello if you are joining us live. But let me bring in my downward facing camera for now, and here we have the Stippled Roses stamp set and dies. So it isn't part of a suite, it is a bundle, and obviously, as with all bundles in the catalogue, you can get a bundled price. So if you buy both the stamp set and the dies, there is a 10% reduction on the combined price, as there always is with these bundles. So always great value. So it is roses. They are stippled. They do have that sort of stippled effect to them, hence the name Stippled Roses. But they're gorgeous gorgeous rose image, those nice big blooms, and then there's all of these little buds at various stages of opening here. You've also got this sort of arc almost of leaves here that's just begging to have a flower put in the middle there. You've got this little single rose down here with its leaves, and then you've got these lovely greetings with a couple of different sort of fonts there. You've got the Happy Mother's Day, the best birthday wishes, you've got a congratulations, which would be fabulous for wedding cards or engagement cards or any of those sorts of ideas. And then we've got a sending thanks, so 4 different sentiments alongside those images. And then in the dies, we've obviously got dies that are going to cut out your flowers, your leaves, your single rose, and then you've got these other dies. So you've got this leaf die here, you've got these 2 different sorts of flowers and 2 more different sorts of leaves there. So this one is the more typical rose leaf, and then you've got a couple of other leaves there and a couple of other different designs of flowers, all with this sort of dotted, stippled effect on it. So really nice bundle. Let's just pop those dies back on that magnetic sheet for a moment, move that to one side. So that is a bundle. If you buy the bundle, I'm just having a look to see if I can see. Grab my catalogue and let's find the Stippled Roses in here. So here we are here's our little project that's in the back of the catalogue with the bundle. You can see how they've built up all the different leaves and the roses there for that one. So the Stippled Rose bundle is £51.25 if you buy both the stamp and the die together. Page 64. Here we go. And here you've got some other samples. Got like this idea of creating a wreath with those leaves. That's the stamped images of the leaves just here that have been die cut and built up into this wreath. That's quite nice. But yes, so £51.25 for the bundle. So that would entitle you to a freebie out of the Celebration catalogue. And one of the freebies is this paper pack that we have in fact used before. a couple of weeks ago, a week or so ago, and it is called Softly Stippled. So it does lend itself quite nicely to working with this particular Stampin' Die bundle. And you've got these beautiful colour palette here. You've got some that are in black and white. Is it black or is it brown? That almost looks brown, actually. Could be grey granite that you could colour in. You can cut those out as they are. And then you've got these Lost Lagoons, Pool Party type colours, Coastal Cabanas, Wild Wheats. And you've got leaves here, you've got roses there. These look like dahlias, don't they? Just really lovely, all in this stippled effect. And then if we flip this over, you've got these sort of different textures on these papers. So sort of almost looks almost Hessian. And then you've got these paint effects. Got it there in Wild Wheat, you've got it there in Coastal Cabana. This looks very linen-like, this paper. This one again sort of feels as if it's almost a Hessian type paper. And then we've got this other paint effect one just here. So some really nice papers, both sort of generic backgrounds and these stippled floral prints. So we may well come back to that, because I'm quite liking these. This sort of Lost Lagoon Wild Wheat combination is quite nice, and we've got a couple of papers in that sort of colourway. So let's have a little look. Let's have a little play and see what we create. So I'm going to grab some basic white card. Let me just move that out of the way. I'm going to cut this in half for now. That to one side. I'm going to cut this in half again, just to give myself a piece of basic white card to play with. I'm going to grab this E block just here. E, hello block. I'm going to put this big floral image on here. Now, I have got here Lost Lagoon and Wild Wheat. And I'm going to, I think, take the Wild Wheat and add colour straight to my stamp with this Wild Wheat. And I'm going in with the Wild Wheat in the leaf areas. I've gone the other way round, but I think I'm going to go Wild Wheat for the leaves. Got my picture just here, so if I need a bit of guidance as to what is what on the stamp, actually we're looking at it. No, we've got to remember that we're backwards. This image as I'm looking at here is the reverse of that image here. So this leaf that I'm doing is this leaf just here. Coming up to this big leaf just here. Now if you have a stamp mat, if you were lucky enough to get your hands on a Stamparatus or something similar, you could be doing this with your stamp on your stamp mat, and you could be doing little areas and then going in and doing other little areas, rather than having to colour all of the stamp at one time. But we will huff. We'll huff and we'll puff when the time comes. So there's Wild Wheat. I'm going to add some Wild Wheat round onto these buds. The sort of casing of the bud is opening up. Revealing the petals underneath. So that's our wild wheat, and now I'm going to come in with Lost Lagoon on the roses themselves. So this is a bit more visible, so colour this in. Here we have this bud just here that's opening up. We've got a bit of a bud coming on here. Bits of a bud there. Another rose just here. And a bud just here. And here. Is that it all? I think so. Right, a big huff. Let's see what happens. So there we have our ink. I'm just going to, I don't know whether to blend it out altogether, but I'm tempted. Just sort of add in a bit more colour. I've just popped a bit of wild wheat on my mat just there. And let's just where we need a bit extra, just dip that into our ink just here. So I'm just using one of our blender pens now, just softly going over the top of these leaves, not too hard, because if you get too hard you'll break up the surface of the card. I need a bit more just here. Let's just give that a bit of a scribble, and then going to wipe off that wild wheat ink. Nothing like getting dirty fingers, is there? Let's put down a bit of Lost Lagoon, and then we can do the same. With our roses, just coming over the top, just dragging out that colour a little bit. a bit of obviously missed a bit just there. It's just add in a bit more just there. These butts. Look a bit more Lost Lagoon for the end of that bud. There we are. Lost Lagoon and wild wheat. And let's bring in some of these papers. I quite like that paper with like the rose leaves on in the background. What to go with it? Do rather love this linen effect paper just here. I think we might use some of that as well. Now, do we let's have a look? These dies just here are called the perennial postage dies, and they do come with that lavender, the perennial lavender. I might use that to cut that out. That would be rather lovely, I think. So there's sort of like a postage stamp sort of effect on these dies. Let's just put some of this tape on my fluffy tunicky top just to take some of the tacky off of it. And we'll run that through the stamping cutting emboss. Oh, crash bang wallop. Come on there. Wiggled around. Let's find the trimmer. That's clattered onto the floor. I'm going to take a piece that is this way. I'm going to cut this at 10 centimeters. So obviously I'm using metric here. If I was doing this with letter size cardstock, that would have been 4 inches. Putting it at 14.4, and that would have been 5 1/4 inches. I do want to put in some of this linen look paper. And I think I'm just going to have a strip coming across the centre rather than round the edge. Let's come 4 centimeters and about sort of 1.5 inches sort of. I'll have that coming across there, I think. I'll cut that to 14.4 as well. The ink we've used is Lost Lagoon. This paper, I think, is more pool party. I think I'm going to go Lost Lagoon for a card base. So, standard card base, cut your piece of card in half, score it in half, whichever way round you do it. I'm going to go the standard book fold card. So, cut in half, scored in half. We are going to have it. So it is this way. We could have it that way. That way. That way. Hello, Therese. I hope I pronounced that right. No, I think I'm going to go this way. I'm going to actually take my Everyday Details die. I'm going to run this across the centre of our paper. Oh, my tongue is rumbling. Not yet had my lunch, so tummy's giving a bit of a grumble there. So these Everyday Detail dies we've obviously used on various occasions, the circles and the rectangles, but the other dies that go with it cut really lovely patterns into your paper and card. They don't cut things out, they cut things into your paper and card. So we've now got that lovely zigzaggy pattern that's going across there. It's rather pretty, isn't it? Sentiment wise, I think I might go with a sending thanks. Let's just find block. And I think we'll go Lost Lagoon. And I've got lots of little strips of paper and card here. Let's just grab one of those. Ink this up. Sending thanks. It's a really nice sort of combination of a really quite sort of plain script, if you like, and a really ornate, curvy script. I'm just going to come around the edge and then decide how much more I want to go into. Really want that great big block of white there. And I don't think I want that great big block of white there. So let's just come in So quite an unusual sort of colour way, but it works. And it's not one that I've come up with myself, it's one that is a result of the colours in the paper. Let's put down this background of rose leaves in wild wheat. Let's add our strip of linen look pool party with paper, which is actually the reverse of the original paper. And across the centre there. I think our little sending thanks. We'll pop up the top here. I think we'll find ourselves some dimensionals. I'm using edge bits up here, so I'm just not being anything very fancy. I'm just tearing bits off, really. You could snip them with your scissors. That one completely empty. Don't ever want to be wasting your dimensionals by not using the bits on the edges. Now for the question, do we go straight? Do we go a tad skewiff? Tad wonky? Let's go a tad wonky. I do love always to have a bit of an angle going on there. Grab a bit of the wild wheat jute trim. I don't want it quite as thick as that, so let's cut ourselves a bit off, and then let's pull roll that between my fingers a bit until we're got some threads going. And then that didn't quite pull out, did it? Pulled off rather than pulled out, so we'll go back to the beginning. And just tease them apart. Keep coming, keep coming. There we are. Teasing them apart until we've got a bit. So these are not very uniform. They are sort of, well, they're bits of jute trim. So they're going to be a bit sort of rough and organic. That is fine because that is what I want. Let's get ourselves a bit of a bow going on. Trim off some of this edging. myself a glue dot. My glue dot's gone. There they are. Let's tuck that in. Just under that edge a little bit. Lots of bits of jute trim wandering around the place now. And some of the in colour dots here. We'll just have some of the small ones. Scattered around a bit. Pop those away for a moment. Obviously that's going to need an insert, so let's just cut ourselves an insert. So I'm going to do this to 13.9 by 9.5, which in imperial would be the equivalent of 5 inches by 3 3/4. And I'm just going to take the Lost Lagoon ink and the little individual rose. Let's just stamp one of those roses in that bottom corner. You could do the same with an envelope, obviously. Put that in there. So that was colouring direct to our stamp and then dragging that colour out a little bit with our blender pens, using that perennial postage dies to cut the image out, using that die from the Everyday Details dies to add some detail to our bit of paper just there. And the papers are from the Sale-a-Bration set, softly stippled. So that's one little card in Lost Lagoon and Wild Wheat. So let's have a go at another card. Let me just find my stamping scrub. Let's just clean up these stamps that we've used for this first card. And we've got that sentiment as well. Now for my second card, I have got stamping blends out to colour these flowers. So a couple of different ways of colouring these flowers. I'm going to take a bit of Calypso Coral cardstock. And I'm going to start by cutting a card base that's the other way. We're still going to cut it in half, but we're going to cut it in half the long way. Hello, Jackie from Florida. It's a lovely colour combination, isn't it? But as I say, all thanks to the softly stippled paper, really. So this is cut 10.5 at 29.7. If you were going to do this in inches, the equivalent would be 10 7/8 by 4 1/8. I will, when I get around to blogging this card, I will put those alternative measurements up for you. But we are then going to score this. Open up my side arm because I'm going to score it at 15 centimeters, 18 centimeters, 23 centimeters, and 26 centimeters. The equivalent of that would be 6 inches, 7 1/8, 9, and 10 1/8. So this is going to make our card base. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to fold these up. And I spot my, I need to rearrange my tools. I always end up scrabbling around, not able to find what I'm looking for. Here's what I'm looking for. Looking for my bone folder. I'm going to score those lines. That is going to form my card base, which is going to be something like that. Then I'm going to have a piece that's going to go on the front, and this is going to be 7.5 by 15. So let's cut it to 15 and 7.5. And I'm going to score this at 1 4 centimeters. I'm going to do my 1 centimeter this side and swing it round for my 4 centimeter. So that would be a 3 inch by 6 inch panel scored at 1/2 inch and 1 5/8. That is going to be like that, and that is going to sit on there like that. So this is our basic card base that is going to sit something like that. It will all fold flat like this to go into a envelope. Stuck my glue dots to the bottom of my trimmer. So this is going to be our card base. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some glue to this piece just here. So I've folded it up. So I've folded up not the first score line, but the second score line. And I'm going to add some adhesive. You could do tape there if you want to, or whatever adhesive works for you. And you can see that by folding that up and pressing that down, then when you open up, you've got that nice square corners on that bottom piece just there. And then we've got this little piece here that we want to go on. So we want that, so it's going to sit nicely on here, come across there, but that when that folds up, that is going to not poke over the top and bottom of the card. So I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive on this top flap. And I've got it folded over, so not where this first little score line is, but again on that second score line, I've got it folded over just there. And I'm also going to put some adhesive on this bottom piece just here. And I'm going to stick that. Actually, I'm not going to stick that straight away because I want to put a panel of paper on there before I stick. Oh, hold fire, Helen. Don't stick yet. To take. I think I'm going to take some of the Roses paper because I do like that paper. I need a piece that is, so that is 5 centimetres. So 4.5 centimetres by 10. Perfect. Let's stick that down. We'd have got round it if I'd already stuck it down, but best not to stick it down. So we want that to go between that top score line and this next score line down. And then let's come back in. So we've got our piece here that has got adhesive on this top flap and adhesive on the bottom piece just here. And we're going to place that. So it's not quite touching the top there, and it's not quite touching the bottom. Pressing down that bottom bit, but I am going to put a bit of DSP in the back there before I stick that on. So that needs to be 9.5 by 10.5 by 10. Let's put that at 10. Cut that at 9.5. Stick that in there. And stick that bit down there. So there we are. That is it. With those back panels of paper put on. So yeah, that's a do as I say, not do as I do, isn't it? So make sure you put your back panels on before you stick this front bit on. We'll just work that both ways, but then that will sit up like that. So you've got this front panel card. We're going to have a nice rose image to come on the front panel of that. But I think we'll also have some DSP on there. Let's just have a little look, see which one we like. Quite a grey one. There's this paper here. It's more wild wheat, but it's got that sort of textured background. That one might work quite nicely. We could just stick with Coastal Cabana and have our painted. I think I might do that actually. I think I might stick with the Coastal, the Calypso Coral, Coastal Cabana Calypso Coral and colour, and so that is just find my ruler. Where have you gone? This front panel just here is 11 centimetres, so 10.5 by 7 we want that front piece. So let's cut this piece down here at 7. Swing it round and cut it at 10.5. Is what happens, you see, when you haven't got a Here's one I made earlier. But hopefully you hear the brain cells ticking as I put this together. So that's that one. Like that. Let's take a piece of basic white, and I'm going to take some grey granite ink. I think I don't necessarily want it to be black. I'm going to stamp this image in grey granite. Let's just stamp that like that. Then I have got some Calypso Coral and some Old Olive blends just here. So Old Olive actually isn't in the papers, but that doesn't matter. We don't have to be tied by all of the colours in a paper pack. I'm going to take dark Calypso Coral. I'm going to colour my roses. And Calypso Coral blends. So this is the dark blend, and I'm sort of coming round where the darker shading is and the bits of stippling. This is the dark blend. And take the lighter blend. I'm just going to do one rose at a time. Go over with that brush end. This is one of my older blends in my collection, getting ready to be replaced, I think, almost. Let's that over and blend in that dark and that light. Let's come on to this bigger rose just here. Bring this round. There we go. Sort of stipply effect. Around here and here. One of the bigger petals just here. Okay, let's come in now with this one. We'll blend that out. Not being frightened to work over the spot to bring the colours together, because it is the saturation of the the alcohol in the blended pens that actually blends those colours out, so you do need to work them together. There's our two bigger flowers. So down here I've got a bit of a bud going on. Another bud. This one is a slightly bigger bud. And doing that shading. And then down this other end. Light one. Then we're going to swap to Old Olive. Around the edge. It's raining again outside. We've had real winds and storms going on. Let's just swap to the light one for a minute. This one. Let's come on round. And we've had a couple of these storms hit. They give them all nice names, don't they? But they're not nice when you're out and about in them. Luckily, we've not particular storm damage, so that's good. That saw lots of appeals on local Facebook pages yesterday for people that mend fences and recommendations for people that mend fences. Coming round to another leaf. Just using the guidelines that the artist has given us as to where to put shading and things. Let's do this little one as well. That grey granite is dark enough to give them outlines and definition without being too overpowering. Sometimes black can be a little bit too overpowering. Nice to head to your greys and things. or browns. Quite like to use saddle brown stays on, but obviously not in your colouring in with Stampin' Blends. If we'd have been watercolouring, that would have been different. 2 more leaves to go. Stippling going on. There we go. So we've got some Coastal Cabana roses there. Let's find the hopefully let's find the, there we go, the dies. We're going to need 2 that way. Die cut those roses out. Sit on the front of there. I'm going to take rose just here. Let me find hopefully some oddments of old olive. I'm going to cut a couple of those leaves from some old olive card. Of these leaves. I need to poke some bits out. Let's find my take a pick tool, take out these extra bits that we don't need. So you can see that the leaves sort of quite a, you've got this sort of stippled effect in there as well as the different detail in the leaves. So we'll have some of those coming in here. Again, let's take out any extra bits. Have that coming up top and bottom. All right, I'm thinking to myself, I'm sure I picked up that gold ribbon somewhere. I did. We have some gold ribbon just here. This is from the online exclusives. You get the gold and the silver. those the actual loops on that bow a little bit bigger. And pick up a glue dot. Have that sitting over the bottom there. Let's bring in just looking through my dimensionals. Got another bit there that's just nearly all edge bits. So let's use up the edge bits on that. I'll put some dimensionals on the back here. And see how that ink has all soaked through to the reverse, and that is absolutely as it should be, which is just why you never do your colouring with your stamping blends on your best French polished table. Now this bottom corner here I want to leave without dimensionals coming right into the corner because of that bow. So let's just put a bit there like that. Take off these back pieces. Stuck those down here. We'll pop those in a minute. Come on out from in amongst that bow. Have that coming down like that. We'll add some adhesive to these leaves, so I'm not putting a great deal on. That one's sticking up there. So they're attached, but they're still flying a bit free. They're still able to, the leaves are still able to lift up a bit, to blow in the wind, as it were. So I think we're going to have some happy birthday wishes for this one, or best birthday wishes. Where the two? No, I think I want it on here somewhere. Perhaps across the centre there. And I think we'll go that bit on there. Not quite. Let's go with a block that way. I'm just looking. I'm going to get my embossing buddy just there. We'll get some Versamark. Let's ink that up. And let's get some gold embossing powder. There we go. Pop the lid back on. Burning my fingers. There we go. That's turned. I'm going to get my big scissors out to trim this. It's just easier with a longer blade. And I think we'll just have these come across there. Let's get a little bit of our multi-purpose adhesive. Just tickle that across there and have that come between those two larger blooms just there. Then I'm going to want something a bit gold, so let's come in with these. And these are the blooming pearls that were in the mini Christmas catalogue but have now transferred to being online. Let's just add some of those, a touch of gold, a touch more gold, that we will just add round and about those blooms like that. So that is obviously going to fold flat to go in a standard envelope, but we are going to need to put a panel on the back to have somewhere to write. I'm going to make that 9.5 by 13.9, which is what I would normally do. And let's this time there's our little bloom gone. Here it is. This time let's grab some Calypso coral. And we'll give that a Calypso coral flower and a Calypso coral blob. So let's swing that over and let's just have the flower. Let's lose the blob. And let's pop some glue over our blobby side. Never again to see the light of day. Okay, let's pop that on there on the back. Ready to write our greeting. So there we have a really pretty floral pop-up card featuring those roses that have been coloured with stamping blends. So there's a couple of different ways of adding colour to that large rose image. So this one stamped direct with the Stampin' White markers and then the colour dragged out with your blender pen, and this one stamped in grey granite and then coloured with Stampin' Blend markers. So two different cards with a very different feel to them, but a really, really lovely stamp set and coordinating dies. So really one worth getting your hands on. And say if you buy this bundle during Sale-a-Bration, you can add that softly stippled paper as your free item, and so get that for free and you can be using that with all of your softly stippled roses, your stippled roses projects. So really beautiful papers, really lovely stamp set. and some gorgeous cards you can create with it. So thank you for joining me wherever you were in the world. It's lovely to have an international feel to our live this lunchtime. I will go off now, have some lunch, and look forward to being able to go and fetch my dog home now she's had her operation. So look forward to doing that in a couple of hours and getting her home where we can look after her. But whatever you're planning on doing with the rest of your day, do have a lovely rest of your day and do come back, and we should be here, all being well, on Friday morning for some more crafty fun. So do join us then. Take care.